Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Psychedelic Tea Chat. I'm April Rameé, and I'm here to share with you the wisdom of psychedelic herbalism. And today, I just want to first say thank you so much to everyone who responded to my questions and brought up any concerns and thoughts that they had around psychedelics and psychedelic herbalism. And based upon your responses, I realized that I'm going to start today from the beginning with a couple of very important questions that were asked of me. What are psychedelics? What does it mean that life is all of a psychedelic? And how does that relate to herbs? So, those are the three things I'm going to talk about today. So, the first thing is that I'm obviously drinking something with me today. And today I'm going to be starting off with nettles. And the reason why I'm drinking nettles today, I'm doing it in an overnight infusion format, or you can just have it steep like this for a little bit longer and drink it as a tea. And the reason why I'm using nettles is because nettles, to me, is one of the gateway herbs to herbalism in general. And I'm going to get into why that's important, but I want to back up and begin with one of the questions that was asked from me, which is, what are psychedelics? And I thought that was a really good question because a lot of the times they're like psychedelics is such a large word, right? And I spoke about in psychedelic herbalism, what that is about how psyche is about reanimating the soul. So psychedelics is about taking in entheogens, which are plants that tend to reactivate and reanimate the soul and have a tendency to give more of a hallucinogenic or a experience that is going to be heightened, that is not normally experienced in every day. But the second question that I wanted to answer is, why is all of life psychedelic, and why do I think that? So first of all, when I'm talking about psychedelics for me in the psychedelic tea chat, I'm really including all psychedelics because I believe life is psychedelic. The ones that I really know the most about are psilocybin, which people can call magic mushrooms, or they call it just mushrooms in general, but psilocybin. And then washuma, which is also known as San Pedro, which is a cactus that is found in Peru in the mountains. And I have a lot of good experience with ayahuasca, which is found in the jungles of the Amazon in various different countries. And I've had the honor of making that medicine, drinking a lot of it, and being a part of ceremonies in South America, North America, and kind of everywhere in between in those countries. And then there is also peyote, which I consider to be a psychedelic as well. And so peyote is a cactus that is found mostly in Mexico, in southwest of the United States. And there is a whole group of people that I knew about in the called the Huichol in Mexico, and they have the peyote is associated with the blue deer. And then with the Native American church, there's also peyote, where there's more of a teepee style of enjoying the peyote medicine. Then there is also other forms of iboga and other different animals or frogs. And then there's some people are putting into psychedelics, they're putting in LSD and MDMA and all these other different DMT extrapolates, or I don't really know how to say the word right now, but that can be a little bit more medical and created in labs and things like that. And so those are all included as well into the psychedelics. For me, as an herbalist and a person who has lived mainly a plant-based life, a plant-inspired life, and whole medicine-inspired life, for me, I really focus a lot on psilocybin, ayahuasca, washuma, and then there's like hape, which is tobacco, And then all of these, like there, which I would put more into like the sacred plant medicines. So then that could be like tobacco and cacao. And then of course there's a bunch of other different medicines as well. Now, why do I consider all of life psychedelic? Well, because for me, in my experience, when I began imbibing in psilocybin mainly first, and then got into ayahuasca, and I did LSD, and I've done a lot, but the experiences that I had and what had been exposed and shared with me really brought me closer to earth and to what is the consciousness that is being radiated out into our planet that we are always a part of and always picking up on, but they could be in a very subtle level. And so for me, I believe life is psychedelic because I believe that we can tap into these experiences, these consciousness, these and this is not to get too woo-woo, but I know that we can tap into the energetics of earth and the energetics of plants and the energetics that are being put out there because we are living on this earth, we're living in this planet. And so then therefore there is a connection that we are having at all times, which can give this very psychedelic feel to life. In my experience, because I tend to be very visionary and sensitive, and kind of a lot of different clairvoyances or different clairs get activated for me to certain spaces in time, I started to recognize that there's so many experiences that I've done, and that once I started doing psychedelics, there's so many states of consciousness and in activities that I've done that have brought me into a space that felt in alignment or similar to a psychedelic experience that I had once I had begun on this path of journey of doing like psilocybin, LSD, ayahuasca, washuma, peyote. I started to realize that, oh, this is something that can be tapped into. And I noticed that in the past, when I was younger, I was having experiences that seemed visionary. And even to this day, I'll have moments where I can see the earth breathing. I can see these visuals that I had in those experiences playing out. And so that's why I really believe that their life is a very psychedelic experience. And so in that, the connection that comes in with my work is that when we start tapping into the idea that life is psychedelic, that these are consciousnesses that we can tap into, especially when it comes to plant medicine, then we can spend less of our time thinking about how do we get to these heightened states of experiences, and then thinking about how we can integrate, prepare, and create a lifestyle that is allowing those subtleties and those consciousnesses and those psychedelic experiences to happen in our lives. And so that we can be present for the synchronicities, the things that are unexplainable, and the jolts of information and knowledge that comes through at different points in our lives, and give it credit and give it, I don't know if credit's the word, but give it the attention it deserves and trust in it. So that's why I really believe that psychedelic, like life is psychedelic. And then the most important thing is then how does that relate to herbs, right? Because why, as an herbalist, am I concerned about a psychedelic lifestyle? Well, one of the things that happened that I started to realize is that in my practice of herbalism, I began to get tapped into these consciousness, these states of synchronicity, these places of understanding myself in a deeper level, and experiencing like a lot of psychedelic experiences, unexplainable events when I was out in the woods or talking to a plant or drinking a tea. And it just kept clicking that it felt as though I was having these really intense psychedelic experiences, knowing that these plants aren't necessarily psychoactive in the traditional terminology of psychedelics. And yet my life and the things I'm experiencing, especially with herbs, are relating to it. And that is why psychedelic herbalism is so important to me, and why I'm doing these psychedelic tea chats, because one of the things that has been inspired and I've been afraid to do for the past years, many years, is to speak about this, is to share about the integration, about the work that I've been doing, and about my recognition of plant consciousness going beyond a specific psychedelic experience. So I hope that all makes sense. I'm just going to look at some of the comments because I got some really good comments. And, you know, for the people who are watching on YouTube, this is like how it goes. I love doing it live. Yeah, so people are talking about how ayahuasca has been an amazing plant medicine for them, has changed their lives, and people received teas that I've sent to them that have really helped them. And so and just like a lot of greetings. So welcome. Thank you. And one of the things I wanted to share again today, when we're thinking about psychedelics and herbalism, and my whole idea of integration and psychedelic herbalism, is this concept that I've talked about a lot, which is herbal immersion. And if you are ever wondering or want to go deeper, I did a whole free course on herbal immersions, and you can find that on my website underneath the herbal resources. And it's all about doing one herb at a time. And so here today, I have with me is nettles. And nettles is like one of, if you ask herbalists, nettles is like a star plant in the herbal world. Why it is because it's like one of the superfoods. You can eat it, you can drink it. It's basically a food. And it has so many minerals, vitamin A's, B's, K's. It has iron. It has a way of supporting and giving nutrients to the body, and rebuilding the body, rebuilding the bones, rebuilding the muscles. It's both salty, so that's going to help with the bone structure. And it also has like a little bit of a sweet taste, sweet earthen taste. And so here what I did is I prepared the nettles all by itself. And then when I put this in, I love to do this in my French press because it makes it a lot easier. I know I have this beautiful teapot I use a lot of the times, and then a mason jar. And one of the other things that I really, really love about herbalism, and something that I really want to start inviting into the psychedelic space, is that it doesn't have to be so fancy, right? All of this can be very, very simple. And the energetics of what you put into it, and the way that you show up, and the way that you're present and aware for the medicine and the consciousness of the plants, this is the key to that sacred union, that psychedelic experience that you can have when you experience a plant. So I'm going to drink a little bit of it. It's still nice and hot. It's so good. Now, the reason why I wanted to share about nettles is because nettles is, for me, goes beyond only the abilities that it has for the body, right? So one of the things that I like to think about with nettles, and that I experienced myself and have had guided a lot of my students and clients into their experience with nettles, is that nettles for me is the gateway, one of the gateway plants to herbalism. This was the first plant I ended up drinking because my teacher, Ashley Latecki, she had us drink herbs as well. And so this was the first one that we drank, and the first one that I give to a lot of my students as well. Clients are a little bit different because it's really tailored to them, but my students, this is normally one of the ones that I introduce, because when I first experienced nettles, my dreams exploded. And I had this like intense dream psychedelic space. Like, it was beyond anything, and my dreams became so active. And I've noticed that this has happened with a lot of my students, is that the dreams become active, and this herb opens that up. And not only that, it also opened up the other plants that wanted to come in and speak to me. And I feel like this is really connected to a psychedelic preparation or integration space, because drinking something like nettles is going to prepare you for opening your consciousness, opening the subtle realms to be able to hear the information that is coming in through your own psyche, your dreams, and the plant realm, which is so crucial and important for those of us who are embarking on a lifestyle that brings us closer to nature and closer to ourselves. So I just wanted to share that today. Nettles is known as stinging nettles as well. And so it has this ability to help break down barriers and boundaries. And so that's one of the things that that can benefit when you're on a journey of herbalism or on a journey of psychedelics or on a journey of healing, is removing blocks and things that are holding you back. It really helps with inflammation, and it helps with giving you energy, or if you have too much energy, helping to regulate where it goes. And that's what I wanted to share about with nettles, and wanted to get back to the beginnings of what is psychedelics, what does life as a psychedelic person mean, and how that relates to herbs. And so that's what I have to share with you all today. I know it's short and sweet, but I really wanted to start in the beginning. What is psychedelics? It was such a good question. I was like, oh yeah, there's some people who may not understand that concept. And so I just wanted to start there and share with you all nettles, one of my all-time favorite drinks. And so I will see you guys next time on the next Psychedelic Tea Chat. Thank you.